Medical unit.
When you are a Karen, dumb decisions like attacking a cop are just normal. From biting the officers to getting their arms stuck in your car window and accusing them of assault, these Karens tapped fully into their Karen force. But turns out, the handcuffs are their biggest kryptonite.
No, you need to talk to him. He chokeholded me. They saw it.
These Karens are accustomed to getting their way through a combination of intimidation and insistence. But in this video, they will realize that these tactics don't work on officers who are trained to handle much more than a retail rant. So without further ado, let's get started on our list of Karens. Number 1. A Karen gets arrested. On April 13, 2021, in Racine, Wisconsin, a traffic stop that should have been ordinary turned into a tense and dangerous showdown. The car, driven by 53-year-old McCoy Jones, was stopped not for a traffic violation, but because McCoy had a bench warrant. Alongside him was Ashley Holly, a 32-year-old who was about to crank up the tension even more. As the officers approached the vehicle to take McCoy into custody, they asked Ashley to remain seated inside the vehicle. However, Ashley had no intention of staying put in the same place. Disregarding the officers' orders, she suddenly rushed out of the car and directly engaged them, which led to an immediate increase in tension. The situation took a dramatic turn when Ashley, now evidently frustrated, started to struggle with arrest. In the heat of the moment, she started biting the officer. This caught the officer by surprise, who yelled, "She bit me!" as they struggled to subdue her. Ashley was continuously bouncing from resistance, biting and shouting in defiance. But the drama didn't stop with the handcuffs. While the policeman walked a handcuffed Ashley to the patrol car, she kept her combative attitude. She said the officers had injured her face, and in no way did she agree to get into the vehicle. As you can see, the police did not have time for her drama. They pushed her inside while she kept screaming and abusing them. The plot thickened as the search for the car yielded more than just traffic citations. Hidden in Ashley's pocket was a needle and a crack pipe. These items suggest that she might be under the influence of drugs, and that could be the cause of her strange behavior. Ashley faced serious charges following the ordeal: felony counts of battery to a law enforcement officer and resisting an officer causing injury, as well as misdemeanors for obstructing disorderly conduct and possession of drug paraphernalia. McCoy, on the other hand, was charged with misdemeanor bail jumping and violation of a restraining order. Number 2. Erratic Karen. On July 4, 2021, Sarah Boffering, our Karen in this case, had a day that ended up in a mess that she hadn't expected. It all started when she stole beers from a Quick Trip, followed by a case of Budweiser from Festival Foods in La Crosse, Wisconsin. Later, an off-duty officer noticed her acting strangely, walking onto the road and shouting at cars, which led to a phone call for a welfare check. This police officer who came to the scene found Sarah unwilling to cooperate and highly resistant. But things got messy when they tried to detain her. She became aggressive and started shouting at the top of her lungs, saying she didn't steal anything. Despite her protestations, they informed her that there had been several calls about her actions on the north side of the town, and they received multiple calls. The situation turned out to be worse when Sarah refused to follow the officers' orders. She kept screaming at the police officers to let go of her hand and that they didn't have any right to touch her, like she has the right to steal and kick the officers who are doing their job. But the officers, maintaining their stance, explained that she was being detained for theft and that they had a couple of damage complaints. Sarah continued to deny everything, leading to a tense standoff. The officers gave her a clear warning: unlock her arm, or they would have to cut her backpack off. When the officers tried to put the cuffs on her, Sarah's defiance reached its peak. She resisted, which caused a commotion, And at one point, she even tried to control the situation by screaming and kicking at the officers when they were trying to put her in the police cruiser. This incident was still happening, and Sarah had the allegedly stolen beer in her possession, which she claimed to have paid for, and this contradicted the store's report. The trouble didn't calm down later either when they were preparing to transport her. Sarah took on a challenging attitude, questioning every explanation by the officers of why she was being charged. She kept saying, "So what? For what? Walking on the sidewalk is not a crime. I didn't steal it." Eventually, Sarah was taken to the station, where she was charged with battery to a police officer, felony bail jumping, and resisting arrest, which caused injury. Number 3. The speedster Karen. On a freezing winter day in December 2021, a blue car was driving recklessly on the highway of New Mexico. It was reported that it was swerving and driving dangerously fast. The officer applying the alerts found himself pulling over the car, but the situation turned bad when the Karen driver decided to run away from the scene. The officer saw the vehicle parked at a gas station a little farther down. The officer found the driver, Jamie Granger, inside the toilet. Jamie was uncooperative and kept saying she had done nothing wrong and only used the restroom. But the reality is anything but that. As she kept an offensive attitude, the officer was forced to handcuff her and bring her in for some processing after she had driven away without giving him a chance to take a second look. As the situation progressed, Jamie became more and more rebellious. She shifted between pleading to get out and stubbornly refusing the officer's commands. However, the officer would not give up. He patiently went about confirming her identity. During this, the policeman observed a strong smell of alcohol on Jamie, so naturally, he assumed she might be drunk. To confirm that, the officer decided to conduct a sobriety test. And as you can see, Jamie found walking difficult. She ended up confessing that she was drunk and broke down, saying that she only wanted her boyfriend. The officer put her into the patrol car, and as he searched the car, he found 2 bottles of alcohol. Now came the worst part. As the officer started to arrest her for driving while intoxicated and fleeing, Jamie started getting more agitated. What she did next only made things worse for her. She tried to get out of the car, and when the police officer stopped her, she lashed back with accusations of assault and started hitting the officer, which added another charge of battery. Jamie was finally taken to the police station, but being a dumb Karen, her assault didn't stop the officers. She kicked, bit, and slapped the officers, and when she was being taken to jail, you could hear her screaming in the background and accusing the officers of assaulting her. This outrageous behavior did not stop, and it escalated to the point where the paramedics refused to transport her. What a horrible person. Number 4. The Karen of the car windows. Here is Jenny Rose Saunders, a lady who decided to give the local cops a horrible night on the evening of April 26, 2022. It all began with a routine traffic stop. Jenny was driving around in a car that had its registration suspended. The police had no idea that they were about to enter a set of a whack drama. When the officer walked up to Jenny's passenger door, he was all polite and professional, inquiring about her license, registration, and insurance. But Jenny? She just decided to increase the level of embarrassment to the highest possible. She feigned ignorance by saying that she was not aware of her papers. It didn't take long for the situation to escalate intensely as the officer sensed Jenny's defiance and threatened to break the window if she didn't comply. And what was Jenny's response? She attempted to call someone on her phone with the excuse that she needed to double-check her safety. Apparently, a regular traffic stop is the same as a thriller movie in her world. Our Karen then decided to roll the window and make the cop's arm get stuck in it. The cop had to finally break the window as she did not lower her window. When the cops were about to put the police cruiser to her, Jenny unexpectedly rebuked with both verbal and physical attacks. With that being said, it was not a misunderstanding or a false flag. She was the one who turned what could have been a simple traffic stop into serious criminal charges. The drama didn't end at the station. Jenny simply went against every instruction and also demanded explanations, and then promptly ignored any explanation given to her. The crazy part is that Jenny did not have any drugs in her system except for her overwhelming delusion. No medicine, no drink, just pure unspoiled Karen power. She was charged with aggravated assault on a police officer, resisting arrest, and obstructing justice. Number 5. Illegal camper. On Friday morning, May 25, 2023, a little request turned into total insanity at the public restroom. The cleaning lady, who had to clean the bathroom politely, asked the woman inside, Maya, to move out. However, Maya, not one to mince words, just exploded in anger, spewing all kinds of curses as if the cleaning lady had just asked for her firstborn. For real, lady, chill. While the janitor was overwhelmed, he did the only thing he could think of. He called the police officers. As the police arrived, they came into the middle of a chaos. Maya was agitated and was holding the handbag like a shield. She refused to show her ID, sticking her chin up already, as if she was being interrogated just seconds into the conversation. When the officers were trying to explain the matter to Maya, it started to become evident that Maya's resistance was not mainly about leaving restrooms. Turns out, she also was breaking local laws by illegally camping in city parks. Key West city laws say that camping is any placement of a barrier between oneself and the floor, and it seemed that Maya was bent on bending the rules.
This is how
I have not yelled at you.
So don't ask me any questions because this is how I talk.
Ma'am, last warning.
In fact, when the officers explained this, Maya perceived it as an abuse of her rights, and she threatened to include her lawyer. The matter took an absurd turn when Maya tried to call 911 with the officers present, thinking they would support her argument. But she didn't know it was the wrong call. This ill-advised misconduct has given the officers more reasons to arrest her for abusing the emergency system.
Put your phone down, put your bag down.
They're arresting me now. Oh, you're not touching me!
Ma'am?
You're not touching my touching me!
In classic Karen fashion, she bit the officer and then denied doing it completely. This stunt also continued as she was placed in the back seat of the patrol car, something that she described as mistreatment. This claim was contrary to the officer's body cameras, which recorded the whole interaction. All the security surrounding Maya did not stop her from claiming that she was innocent and badly treated. Yet, the video footage was crystal clear. The original compliance issue was minor. However, it quickly led to a big issue because of her Karen attitude, and she ended up being charged with battery, resisting arrest, and abusing the 911 call. Should have just been nice to the cleaning lady, eh? Number 6. Crazy girlfriend. The fact that the car was in neutral. The police officers ordered the man to get out of the car. Instantly, you could tell he was on drugs. His speech was slurred, and he smelled of alcohol combined with marijuana. The gravity of his condition dawned on him, and instead of a sobriety test formality, he went straight to admitting his drunkenness.
Today?
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Earlier, yeah.
Yeah, when was the last time?
Earlier,
It smells like it in the car.
And putting his hands behind his back without argument. He apologized, recognizing the weight of his recklessness, still hoping for mercy, asking the officers to allow him to call his mom rather than to be sent to jail. All seems good, right? But then, the man's girlfriend suddenly appeared from the bar and invoked her inner powers of Karen. She was not exactly sober herself. She asked why they were searching her car, though the evidence and the situation was so obvious. Then, she just escalated the situation with her agitation, and the officers tried to explain that her boyfriend's admission of smoking marijuana, in addition to the visible evidence and smell, gave them enough grounds to search the car without needing her permission. But when has logic ever stopped a Karen? She threatened the officers with a lawsuit and denied any possession of drugs, in spite of the fact that there were marijuana and some pills in her car.
It's my car. You didn't have my permission.
Are you want to take your marijuana?
My marijuana?
Yeah. Because there's
You arrested him.
Yeah, there's marijuana in the car.
Go ahead, slap me with the ticket because it's decriminalized in the state of Iowa.
She resisted the arrest and started kicking an officer, which only increased the charges. In the end, she was facing obstructing official business, resisting arrest, and disorderly conduct. On the other hand, her boyfriend, totally calm and quiet, was sent home after the ordeal. That's two ways to handle the situation. Number 7. We have a runner. In Oklahoma City, a broken taillight became the beginning of a traffic stop that in the end turned into a drama that you couldn't believe without seeing it. The event was about a 65-year-old Karen who was pulled over by local police. The officer, who wanted to have a quick and simple stop, pointed out that broken taillight and asked for the driving documents. The lady was not only uncooperative, but she responded with obvious resentment. She acknowledged that the taillight had been broken for around 6 months, which proved a high level of carelessness. The officer crossed the road and went to his police car to check her details and to write up the citation. Even though the woman confessed, she felt somehow mistreated since she was already working on the problem and was not ready to pay the fine.
You had to have been up here.
Nope. Either way, I'm issuing you a citation. Sign there, please.
Well, I don't want to sign it because I don't want to do $80.
The Karen powers built up rapidly in her as she made her first refusal to sign the citation. From that point on, the situation got worse quickly. The police officer told her that she could be arrested for refusing to sign the paper, but she just turned a deaf ear to him and did not believe that she would be arrested for such a reason.
Get out of the car! Get out of the car! Get out of the car!
When the officer told her to get out of the vehicle, she instead put her truck into drive and took off, resulting in a high-speed chase with the police that ended with them ramming her car from behind. Once she was stopped, the woman's resistance was at its peak. She would not come out of the car, and when she finally did, she physically resisted the officer who was trying to cuff her. The atmosphere reached its peak when she tried to kick the police officers and was subdued with a taser.
Behind your back! Put your hands behind your back!
The paramedics were called after the taser was fired to make sure the victim's health was not adversely affected as a result of the use of force. She listed continuous family problems as well as distrust of the authorities as the reasons for her flight and subsequent arrest resistance. Number 8. Pride hath a fall. One example which demonstrated how deep entitlement can go was that of Karina, who was a 30-year-old lady with the mentality that she could not be answerable to anyone. It all started when she was taken off the plane because of her unruly conduct. But instead of complying, she ran to the bathroom at the airport, and it ended up in a weird standoff. When the police officer showed up, Karina explained that she was trying to prevent the situation from escalating and was defending herself from the airline staff. But her words contradicted her actions. The police officials tried to calm her down and recommended she go to the airline's management if she wanted to talk about her problem. In the beginning, Karina did what she was told, but as soon as she came out of the stall, all of her cooperation was gone again.
Before I answer any of your questions, I'm going to call a lawyer.
Did you have anything to eat today?
I'm going to call a lawyer.
Have you eaten today?
That's my lawyer about that.
You haven't had anything to eat today?
That's my lawyer.
The police started questioning her, and with every question she was asked, her only reply was "My lawyer is going to call me." Did you notice that? Her speech is slurred, and she acts very strangely, meaning that she is not just upset, but might also be under the influence. When the police officers decided to arrest her, Karina's representation of her original attitude changed from being defensive to becoming extremely rude. She claimed she was being touched by one of the officers. The officers assured her she should not be harmed, but refused to comply when she was being taken to the patrol car. Finally, as icing on the cake, she became extremely violent. Typical dumb Karen behavior. She started kicking the officers. In the end, Karina was taken to the police station where she was charged formally. She was accused of various crimes, such as assault on a public officer, intoxication in public, and resisting arrest. Number 9. Airport madness. On May 25, 2021, the police were called to an airport to intervene in a public disturbance, but the situation was far worse than they could have imagined. The officers encountered Terry at the scene, our Karen in this instance. She was very agitated and pointing at another passenger whom she accused of assault. She was very dramatic, explaining that the passenger got a grip around her neck. Only problem? The eyewitnesses did not support her claims at all.
No, you need to talk to him. He chokeholded me. They saw it. My God, what is wrong with America?
Witnesses saw her trying to go through the line at the security gate and shoving past other passengers, which led someone to stop her. While the officers were approaching Terry, her reaction was totally disruptive. She did not try to slow down the tempo, but sped it up instead. The police attempted to lead her to a quiet place to defuse the situation, but it did not work. Her body language changed when the officers were trying to calm and guide her down. She admitted that she had been drinking before. She was determined to have the officers take action against the person whom she accused of misconduct and asked that he be removed from the plane.
Over here.
In a dress!
Ma'am, let's go over here. Ma'am, let's go over here, okay?
Boo-hoo! You fuck off! I want the manager of the airport here!
Eventually, the police officers had to arrest Terry because she had become very violent towards them. While the woman's hands were bound, her defiant attitude didn't stop there. She continued fighting back, cursing the officers and yelling that they were hurting her. Her theatrical statements did not end when she was put in a police car to the station. She, instead, claimed she would be suing, moaning over her treatment and screaming. She was charged with public intoxication, resisting arrest, and possession of illegal drugs. Number 10. Karen, the bane of cars. This Karen's case turned into a rapid escalation when she was caught by the police while destroying cars. The officers got to the scene and discovered her breaking windows and bending number plates, a conduct she kept up even with the presence of the officers. Not only did people who were present at the scene witness her threatening actions, but it also made the problem even more complicated.
You need to stop. Right here.
While trying to arrest her, her behavior was just vile. She was chanting for her life, screaming and running around, disobeying their orders to stop.
Stop! Run it! Now! Stop! That's against the law! No, it isn't. That's against the law! That's against the law!
The strength of her resistance did not wear off as the police caught her. Instead, she did not stop shouting about her rights, claimed to have anxiety, and resisted throughout the arrest process.
I have anxiety. It's against the law.
She also claimed that whatever was going on was against the law. Her screams of, "I have a written notice," and threats to bring up a case in the court did not make the officers stop.
Okay, stop! No, stop! Resisting! That's against the law. Get your hand off my head. Get your hand off of my head.
She ironically argued that the police themselves had broken the law, even though she was committing multiple illegal acts, including assaulting the police officers.
You have to. You have to. Come on, pass out. You have to. You have to stop.
I'm good.
The situation calmed down at last after the police succeeded in putting handcuffs on her. Nevertheless, Karen insisted that she was being unjustly dealt with. She was finally charged with aggravated battery of a peace officer 3 times, criminal damage to property 2 times, and resisting a peace officer once. Her bond was set at $150,000 due to the magnitude of the acts she committed. So I guess that's a silver lining. That is it for today's video on dumb Karens attacking cops. Like, subscribe, and comment down below, and let us know which Karen pissed you off the most. We will see you in the next video. Goodbye.